What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den. I am your host, Ed Honcho. Thank you for being here. It is an honor, a privilege, but most of all, my pleasure to get to chop it up with you today. Today, we're going to get into a conversation about Jonathan Price. If you're not familiar with the story, I'll share a couple of articles so you can have an understanding. I'm going to share my thoughts on why I don't believe this is an unarmed black man shooting that Black Lives Matter is going to get behind. I don't think most black people are going to get behind this, and I think this is probably, if you're looking for an example, this is probably the one you should be getting behind, not the Jacob Blakes and others of the world, but this won't get that push. I'm gonna tell you why. And even though I think this probably may have been a more egregious situation than some of those, I'm going to go over a couple of articles. I'm going to just kind of touch on different points from a few of them. We're not going to read them all, so you can have an understanding. And then I'm going to show you why I don't think this is going to be promoted like that. Not that I'm a Black Lives Matter supporter, but also why I think that this story has a key point that nobody is talking about. And it touches on a lot of things that I've spoken on here in the Den over the years. And for those of you who are looking for the late night Den streams, we're now at 1 p.m. So while you're working, wherever you may be or something like that, on your lunch break, whatever, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you tune in, definitely call in, share your thoughts on whatever the topic may be for the day. But let's get into this. Jonathan Price out of Wolf City, about 70 miles north of Dallas, I believe. And this story happened a couple of days ago. I think it happened on the 3rd, and I kind of wanted to get. I've been kind of waiting. I like to wait a couple of days, let some details and some information come out. Let people start doing their due diligence and start digging up dirt and all this stuff on everybody. You know how this whole thing works. So this is about 4 days. I would say it's the 7th as I'm recording this. So it's been plenty of time, I guess, to go find any shit that you can find on everybody involved, and let's kind of start looking at some things, right? So for those of you who don't know what it was, I'm gonna give you a rundown. So Jonathan Price was shot and killed on Saturday, like I said, I believe it was the 3rd, outside of a convenience store. Price's relatives, who described him as a model citizen, worked for the city, say he was trying to break up an argument between a man and a woman when the officer pulled up. His family says the officer may have thought the two men were fighting. I love my son. I try to bring him up to do the right thing, says Junior Price's father. Now, of course, your relatives, your family, your friends are always going to describe you in the best light. We've seen some people who are probably not the most upstanding characters get painted in the best light by friends and family in some of these situations. Even though I do think this one is different. The guy, by all accounts, appears to just be a stand-up guy for the most part. I haven't seen anything negative on him. Again, we don't know what people do behind closed doors. All that's really none of our fucking business. But the court of public opinion, it matters in situations like this. So what was said to have happened was a taser was deployed according to onlookers, and then the officer fired shots. Price was reportedly hit multiple times, but none of that description of events has come directly from investigators. Said the town is devastated, said resident John Williams. He's a very well-liked young man. Wolf City Police only released a short statement on Facebook saying that he's on administrative leave pending an investigation by the Texas Rangers. Says, let's see, so we want to see more access to information they have right now, says Lee Merritt. We want to see a copy of the video. We want to see official police reports, which we haven't seen yet. We want the officer officially named. Says people are aware, they're afraid of outside groups showing up. I don't think the outside groups are going to show up, and I'm going to tell y'all why in just a minute. Because of something I think Jonathan himself said is why I don't think that these groups are going to push him to the forefront, try to make him a martyr for the Black Lives Matter cause, right? As we love to do. They love to go get straight black men, make them the representative, and then offer no assistance, offer no help. We'll use your dead body to promote our cause, but in reality, we don't give a shit about black men. So, like I said, a group of people as far away as Dallas walked peacefully together down the town's main street, the vigil of the convenience store. Advisory group of more than 171 answers. You shouldn't have to see a building burn to be upset. You're upset because this community's current right now is being denied justice. Let's kind of get into that. Like I said, that was from a couple of days ago. The officer was arrested a couple of days later, I think about 2 days after, but I think on the 5th he was arrested and charged with murder, And so, and we'll read this too, because like I say, this was, the lawyer says a different account. So we'll give the lawyer's account of what was happening. But again, he was charged with murder. Bond was set $1 million. Said it's the first step, says Lee Merritt. He's dangerous, should not be out on bond. Relieved to hear of his arrest, looking forward to conviction. Price was described as a hometown hero, stand-up guy, mentor, worked with children. He worked for the city, and he also was a personal trainer, right? But said this is very important because I'm going to come back to this. It's exactly what happened on Saturday. Price allegedly stepped in to help a woman out of a domestic violence situation. Things escalated between Price and her abuser, but had calmed down according to witnesses by the time police had arrived. And you know, his father speaks that I want to see him get what he gets. Now, here's a statement from the Texas Rangers. You know, say the chief. Oh, they said that the chief saw the video and told me he wasn't happy with what he saw. That's the attorney for Price's family. It says approximately on 8:24 p.m. October 3rd, Wolf City Police Officer Shaun Lucas responded to a disturbance at the 100 block of Santa Fe Street for a possible fight in progress. Officer Lucas made contact with a man later identified as 31-year-old Jonathan Price, who was reportedly involved in the disturbance. Officer Lucas attempted to detain Price, who resisted in a non-threatening posture and began walking away. Officer Lucas deployed his taser, followed by discharging his service weapon, striking Price. EMS was notified and Price was transported to Hunt Regional Hospital, where he later died. The preliminary investigation indicates that the actions of Officer Lucas were not objectionably reasonable. The Texas Rangers have charged Officer Lucas with the offense of murder and booked him into the Hunt County Jail. This investigation is being conducted by the Texas Rangers with cooperation of the Wolf City Police Department and the Hunt County District Attorney's Office. No additional information is being released at the time. Okay. He was booked into Hunt County Jail, later released to Rockwall County Unit. Interesting. Rockwall. Now, the lawyer statement, I want to read this real quick because, like I said, I want to provide all angles of the story, right? That's what the den is about, having all angles, opportunities, perspectives, and, you know, allowing your opinion. So, defense attorney Robert L. Rogers represents Shaun Lucas. He sent this CBS 11 News the following statement. Officer Lucas responded to a fight in progress call. He saw several people gathered at the front of the store. Mr. Price approached Officer Lucas. Mr. Price did not claim to be an uninvolved innocent party, which is okay. Officer Lucas told Mr. Price that he was detained, and Mr. Price resisted. After Mr. Price refused to repeated instructions and physically resisted, Officer Lucas deployed his taser and continued to give Mr. Price instructions. Mr. Price resisted the effects of the taser and attempted to take it away from Officer Lucas. Officer Lucas only discharged his weapon in accordance with Texas law when he was confronted with an aggressive assailant who was attempting to take his taser. And again, like, you know, you want to hear everybody's statements, and again, you don't want to wait for the facts to come out. I have a hard time believing this one. You know, I have a real hard time believing this. Again, reverting back to the statement and, you know, again, like something to post that he made on social media. But again, if you're charged with murder, you're going to say anything, you know, to beat that, right? But again, we have to wait for the video to come out. I'm making an assumption based on things that I've seen. And I know everybody, well, we got to wait for all the evidence. Well, I'm not going to do all that. I'm just going to make some assumptions here. So like I said, he was arrested October 5th. He's already been released, you know, had $1 million bond, so he's come about $100K and you get up out of there. This just kind of reiterates some of the other stuff. Now, this is very interesting. Like, I want to start kind of changing the narrative here in a second. Former MLB player Will Middlebrooks, childhood friend of Price, set up a Justice for Jonathan GoFundMe page. Last I checked, you know, because I actually checked myself, and it was probably about at the $80. This was actually a couple of days ago, so I don't know if maybe it has increased. But let's pull it up, actually. We'll pull it up and I'll look here in a second. But I know for the guy, Blake, you know, in a couple of days he had $2 million and he was there on some fuck shit. But yet people raised the money and we're happy to give it to him. I think if this is a situation, I think the evidence needs to come out and see, like, to me, this is a more legitimate situation than that, you know, and the man actually, you know, lost his life. So we'll kind of get into that. But let's go real quick, this other article, 5 facts about Shaun Lucas. And then I'm going to start sharing my opinions on what's really going on here in this whole story. Like I said, so let's kind of skip to it. Price family said Lucas used a taser while he was walking away, hands raised, shot him as he walked away, his body reacted to being stunned. We kind of talked about that, so that's not too much. We already talked about, you know, the possible fight in progress, and that's just basically what he said. They said that 2 witnesses, Price's friend, told WFFA's Astros that the couple involved in a domestic dispute were both white. Price's friends told Rose that 3 of them went to the gas station, convenience store. Gas station, convenience, goddamn, it's a convenience store, damn it. For cigarettes, and saw a couple fighting outside, according to Rose. 2 men said Price intervened and stopped the man from beating the woman. They said by the time Lucas arrived, the incident was over, but the officer went right to Jonathan, and the officer did not go after the man fighting the woman in the domestic violence incident, Rose tweeted. The witness told Rose the officer used his taser on Price, then shot him while Price was about 8 yards away. The officer then handcuffed Price after he was shot. Okay, so that's that. Lucas says 4 traffic offense. I don't think that fucking matters. Who cares about fucking traffic offenses? That doesn't really mean anything. Small town. Now this is where it's interesting. Small town. Lucas is one of 3 officers working for the Wolf City Police Department. Let's say he's not from the small Texas town. Now I harp on community policing, but not like that type of community policing. Like I believe cops should be from the neighborhoods that they police, or at least as close to them as possible, because you have a better understanding of that community. If people are familiar with your face, I think they respond differently. And that's why I talk about it when niggas get mad about, the cops doing this, and niggas need to go become cops and then police your own neighborhood. These fucking problems don't happen. People are gonna respond to you differently because they know you. You know the people. You understand the culture of the environment. This guy, not from there, 1 of 3 cops. I'm sure it ain't going down in that town like that. There's not enough action in that town. I'll go look up the demographics, but it's a small town, so I'm sure it's not a lot of murders, not a lot of crazy shit happening. So the need to draw your weapon in a situation like that and shoot makes me question it. Like small towns like this, shit don't happen like that because of how tight-knit the community is. Wolf was a guy that was from there. Had it been an officer who was from that town, probably would have been familiar with him, probably would have knew who he was, would have been understanding. Because in this post that he makes, he talks about his interactions with some of the police from this town. So we'll get to that in just a second. So I think that's part of the problem. Like I think that people need to be as much as close as possible taking care of their own. Cops need to be taking care of the neighborhoods that they grew up in, that they came from, as much as possible. You know what I mean? Or at least similar environments, because I think they have a better understanding. It prevents stuff like this from happening. He's lived in a bunch of small towns. That's maybe neither here nor there, but it's interesting. This guy, you can tell he's a personal trainer, which takes a level of discipline if you're going to make that a profession. I have a hard time believing that he was just, maybe of the same ilk as some of these other stories that we've seen of people who have gotten, handled. A lot of people say he's a pillar of the community. He played a little bit of college ball. He played football for once at Hardin-Simmons University and Sam Houston State University. And then, he started personal training, repetitive reps. Like I say, childhood friend, that was the GoFundMe. We talked about that. He talked about how he felt this was a racist, facing my first ever favorite teammate, faced a good man who was taken away. He's like, there's no excuses this time. He resisted arrest, complied with cops. This one doesn't work either. It's purely active racism, period. So if you think this was all bullshit, you need to check yourselves. And again, like I say, when you're talking about it was a group of people at the gas station, and it's been stated this town is primarily white. I would love to see, who was at the gas station. I think that could determine some things. And again, a guy not being from there, a police officer not being from there, is a huge thing. And a fact, facing 5 to 99 years if convicted, he's not going to get 99 years. If that happens, we just saw the Amber Geiger thing, but I think she might have got, I can't remember, she get 5. She's not going to do all that. She's probably out now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of my thing, That doesn't matter. It's not really a fact. But let's get into what I want to get to. And I say, well, this is why I don't think groups are going to get behind this. I don't think the BLMs, even though Black Lives Matter, because you didn't hear nothing about, the cop who was killed by a white guy. There was no Black Lives Matter for him, even though he's a black man with a family. Probably because he was a family man, even that. Nuclear family, Black Lives Matter doesn't want that. Let me pull this up, because this is a statement made by Jonathan Price. And this is why I say this is the thing that makes it hard to believe. And I got to talk about some of you niggas too, because I've seen a lot of black people know he deserved it for posting this. He posted this in June and then got shot and killed. Like, this is not an indictment on his character for posting this. It's an indictment on the character of, the officer. If that did happen the way that it's been proclaimed, that's on him, So let's look at it. So with all the tension and animosity going on with race, and the one time, this guy uses a lot of emojis. That's my one of my pet peeves with him. I'm on the same fence as Lil Wayne with him saying a white cop saved his life and hasn't been too vocal based off experiences. I was raised by the Malones and Woodruffs in my hometown for a large amount of my youth. With my second family then and still are in 2020, if I have to say anything. The amount of food fed to me, they spit on me outweighs any BS about race or color right now. I have family that's never done a damn thing for me or supported my business ventures, and they're my blood. They will forever be 1 million in my book, and they know who they are. They're to blame for my countryside and my addiction to white women. Probably something I wouldn't have said. Not complaining one bit. There were times I should have been detained for speeding, outstanding citations, outdated registration, dozing off at a red light before making it to my garage, downtown Dallas after a long night out. I passed a sobriety test after leaving a bar in Wiley, Texas by 2 white cops and still let me drive where I was headed. And by the way, they consider Wiley, Texas to be a very racist. I've never got that kind of energy from the popo. Not saying black lives don't matter, but don't forget about your experiences going through growth / waking up, and hashtag God's plan. So I'm gonna kind of leave that on record. I'm gonna go back to this screen here, so I can just express my thoughts on everything that was going on here. So number one, why Black Lives Matter? These outrageous groups are not gonna get at what he talked about, his prediction of white women. So black women ain't finna, they're not gonna champion anything like that. So they already talking about fuck that nigga. That's why most of them jumped off the ship. The rest of you, or the rest of them, you know, with him not being anti-police, you know, he didn't say he hates the cops. He didn't say, I don't think he just said he loved. He just said he never got that kind of energy from him. He just talked about his experiences with race. And I think there's a lot of people who have similar stories like that, but all of a sudden we got to discount them. We can't count them because, you know, their energy ain't like everybody else. They're not black, right? We'll get to that. So they're not going to get behind this. You're not going to hear all the chants. You're not going to hear the say his name. You're not going to hear all of that, right? You know, the video may come out, and there are going to be certain people, because this is like why that BLM shit is so weird. Because there's certain people who approach it like, and they're righteous in their belief. They like genuinely believe that's what it's about. And they're probably going to be promoting it. But the people who are really at the corporate, who really have the ulterior motive, they don't give a fuck about this. They're not going to promote them. They're going to push them to the forefront. Stand up, straight man. Didn't hate the police. Dated white women. Get him out of here. He's all the wrong shit, right? But number two, nothing to do with race, nothing to do with anything. This is why I tell men, don't get involved in domestic disputes. If it's not your chick, leave that broad. If not your sister, not your family, not your gal, let her deal with her own decisions. And it sounds harsh, and I know y'all say it sounds messed up, but had this man minded his own business, he's alive today. There's no interaction. Let them call the cops on them people doing whatever they're going to do. Because I've talked about my own personal experiences and how a lot of these situations don't pan out. I've seen people get killed trying to help out in situations of domestic, violence or whatever it is, and there's no upside for you. Like you can talk about maybe being a white knight and feeling like a hero, but 9 times out of 10, the chick you saved is going to go right back to the dude, and so you risked your life for nothing. And this is what happened. I don't get involved in domestic disputes. You say whatever you want to say about me. I used to, and after seeing the similar outcome multiple times, like, it's not my problem. Like if it's my family, like I have a vested interest in you. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm going to get in. I'm going to get involved. I'm probably not going to like it, but it is what it is. But if I don't know you, I'm not trying to save the world. I'm no longer trying to save the world. All right, you got to help people who want to be helped. And if that woman wants to be in that situation, well, she's going to have to figure it out, because this man lost his life for it, and I'm pretty sure that chick is still with that dude. I haven't even heard anything about him getting arrested for beating her up or anything like that, right? Or roughing her up. So that's what the incident was originally called on. Nothing even happens with that. So don't get involved in shit like that. There was another point I wanted to make. I talked about the Black Lives Matter, why they won't be involved, and then why, I think the situation is a little bit different because him posting that. So even the people who normally would try to use that, like, there are black people using that to discredit him. And so this is why I say it doesn't matter. Let's listen to everybody's experiences. It's going to be difficult to make change. Because here's the thing, black folks, everybody hates it, but we can't get mad when somebody generalizes us if we're doing the same thing. Like, you got to hold yourself to a higher standard. That's why I say each of these things, it's an individual situation. That man has had several run-ins prior to it. Well, I won't say several, but the run-ins that he's had with law enforcement, obviously non-threatening situations. And in his own words, they went well. Because I'm going to tell you something. A person who is naturally aggressive with law enforcement is always going to be natural. It's not going to just be one night. All right, I've had run-ins with the law when I'm under the influence. Because alcohol give you alcohol nuts, and it shows you who you really are. He probably wouldn't have had successful outcomes prior to. So that's what makes me think that the statement by the officer given by the attorney, I don't believe it. Like I said, but let the video come out. This is just me, my preliminary thoughts on what's going on. More information will come out, more details will come out, and we'll get to the root of this. But I really want to know. But again, like I say, when we lump all law enforcement together, and I know you say, well, they're professionals, they made that choice. I didn't make a choice to be black. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely correct. But you do have a choice on how you carry yourself. You do have a choice about who you choose to associate with and what you get to associate with being black. And a lot of this shit is trash that we do. We've had some conversation around the last few streams about associating with trash. People were quick to run behind Jacob Blake, who was causing trauma and basically in the create a dangerous situation for other black people. The girl, he's apparently allegedly sexual assaulter. The kids that were in the car, like he created a situation where all these people were now subject to being put in harm's way because of the decision that he made. And allegedly, remember, he was going to break up a fight, even though that wasn't fucking true. He was the fight. This is a guy who was going to break up a fight, I guess successfully broke it up or whatever, and then got shot for whatever reasons. Again, I'm going to wait for the full details to come out, but I don't expect to see, and again, I've been off social media, so I don't know, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't expect this to be a situation like any of the rest of these. But what I will do is I'll drop the links to all of these articles in the chat. And what I did say, I did want to look at where his GoFundMe was. Now, it's okay, so 100K now, right? It's 100K. So 102,000 and 112. But still, like I say, the Jacob Blake thing, millions poured in because all these people just promoted it and pushed it. Where are the athletes for this? Oh, because he made well, again, not anti-police statements. Well, I don't even think it was necessarily pro-police. I think it was just not anti. And so because you're not coming out and saying, all of this shit, people not rocking with you. But with that being said, hey, 1 p.m. Central, Monday through Friday, live, join the conversation, be a part of the conversation. Make sure you're following all the proper social medias, Ed Honcho HTX on Instagram and Twitter. Didn't show live in the Facebook group, even though I know I said I haven't been on social medias. I mean, you still get the information. Sometimes YouTube doesn't notify you. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. A lot more of these recorded videos are going to be dropping. So I hope y'all are ready for that. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for coming through. I'm trying to produce y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Y'all ain't got to go home, but shit, gotta get the fuck out of here. I'll catch y'all just a little bit later. I'm out.